Are you afraid, like I am, that your Social Security is just not going to be enough or even there? Are you afraid, like I am, that our 401ks will be highly damaged, not what we want them to be? Maybe you just don't even have that much put aside. Well, I feel that way. And I put pen to paper and came up with 7 ways that we can, as people preparing for retirement, can augment our incomes and have multiple streams so that we will feel more secure. We won't be afraid, that we'll be more secure with what we're doing. And no matter what may come down the road, we can have something else that helps with the things we've already prepared. The first thing that I have come up with is something that I already do, and that is consulting. Consulting or coaching around a topic that you are an expert in, or at least you have more information than someone else. What is the topic people come to you for? I'll use myself as an example. I consult in nonprofit leadership and fundraising. But people also come to me and ask my advice around the real estate I have done in my Airbnbs. I could consult around that if I needed to. People also come to me because I have 2 degrees in human communications and I have a little bit of a specialty in conflict management. And even amongst their family, they come to me and they ask me my opinion on how to come to a resolution, I should say, in conflict. And I could do that in business, and I could consult on that for family members. Right, and that's just me. Those are things I know about that I could help others with, and people ask me questions. What do people ask you questions about? Do a little inventory on that. I can tell you a friend who's in human resources has really taken off with her work in helping people get ready for job interviews. She's in human resources. She knows the drill. She not only knows how to help people get ready for job interviews, she knows how to help people get the interview. She knows how to help people with a resume, right? So that is super important. What do you know? Where have you worked? What is your area that people come to you? Maybe in child rearing. It may be that you worked in healthcare in some area. People need healthcare guides. Healthcare guides is a huge field. If you have any peripheral knowledge around that and you want to learn more, you can learn more about becoming a guide. And that can be a whole new career, even in retirement, because people need assistance and guidance through our healthcare system. It's quite lucrative. So those are a couple of ideas. What can you earn as a consultant? Well, I have a friend who helps people with learning a hobby she has, which is knitting and crocheting. And she just one-on-one, like we are here, talks to people about crocheting at, $15 an hour. The person that helps with resumes, she charges $25 an hour to help with the resume and $40 an hour to help with getting the interviews, of which she guarantees you get the interview. If you don't get the interview, you don't know her anything. So you can do it anywhere, but I can tell you that a low estimate of what you can earn for consulting is $500 a month, and a really good income can come around $5,000 or more. Depends on your expertise and the market. And so I would just take an inventory of what you know and what people ask you about, and then kind of go around and be nosy and kind of see what people are charging. So, 2. Number 2, Royalties. I know that sounds very fancy schmancy, but royalties can come from anything that you have made that can be sold repeatedly. It can be a book. I have many friends, actually. It's funny how many actually do this, write family histories, and they charge for that book. It's a self-published book, and when a big reunion is coming up, they will print that book as part of the reunion ticket, and everybody gets a copy. That's a royalty. You put it together, you get paid for that book. At every reunion, people get an updated version. That's a royalty. And it's quite a nice income for several people that I know in a very specific genealogy area that my husband is related into. Other royalties, photographs. There is a market for very specific photographs. There's a market for all photography. But if you can find a niche that you really enjoy, if you're a photographer, you can take photos of that. I have a friend who does migratory Midwestern birds, and he has a marsh area in the middle of the country, and he focuses on that, and he earns a lot of money because his photos are very specialized. And magazines or online productions, they want photos of those very specific birds. And he earns money from that. He also writes a column and gets paid for that, and has a Substack where he brings it all together. So you can earn quite a good living if you have a very niche specialty with photography. You can do that with music also. Music, writing. I have friends who ghostwrite industrial publications, and every time one of those publications is used, they receive royalties from that. So you can earn anywhere from, again, $500 to $5,000 and up. But I would say if you can focus on earning maybe $5,000 to $1,000 a month, and the more you produce, the more likely some pieces of things that you produce would be in takeoff, right? You've got to find that market. Everybody has their area of expertise. Number 3 is a bit unusual, and I do have some friends who do this. Now, you have to have a little cash to do it, right? It's called peer-to-peer lending. As our markets are a little wonky, and if the interest rate is a little higher, you can profit from peer-to-peer lending. Now, there are a lot of things to consider here, and I am not a financial expert, but I do have friends that do this. There are some apps for this. There is information on this. I have one of my friends works within the real estate business and works with realtors and small banks, and is able to fund things that are short-term, balloon payments in a short-term amount. You earn a little better on the interest rate than the bank would because you're taking a higher risk. But you're protected by legal documents. So there's risk and reward, but peer-to-peer lending, if you're of that finance mindset, can be quite lucrative. Number 4 is house hacking. Now, you know I've done some videos on house hacking. I will have those at the end, or one of those at the end to recommend. But in brief, House hacking is taking a portion of your home and renting it out. You can kind of see a little door here. I don't have it rented, but it is actually, it was somebody's photography studio, but it was actually built like a casita. We have a family room in there, but it has a full bathroom and a kitchenette and a lot of room. And it could well be, it's about 400 square feet. It could be somebody's studio apartment, and I could rent it out. I could rent it Airbnb. I could do a couple of different ways. I could rent it out traditionally. I could rent it out Airbnb, and or another like VRBO or something. And that's house hacking. That is taking a portion of your home and earning money on it. It might be that you have a separate home on your property. It might be that you have an apartment. I, at one time, had a basement apartment. It was very old. Hadn't been used as an apartment in more than 10 years. But I wanted to go to graduate school, and I was a single mom. And I really wanted a daycare provider or income. So I put an ad out. I spent a little money updating the plumbing in the basement because it hadn't been used in 10 years as an apartment, and it was just that kind. I needed to have the sink replumbed in the basement for the kitchenette area. I needed the carpet cleaned. I needed to paint it. I painted it. So I rented it to a young lady who was my daycare provider, and that was our trade. So she earned her free, quote, apartment for college, and I was able to go to grad school and have my daughter taken care of literally in my own home, separate entrance. Your house may be different, your needs may be different, but I do recommend house hacking. I do it quite a bit, and I've never rented out a bedroom in my home. You can do that. I have stayed in someone's bedroom in their home twice and had great experience. Not everybody feels comfortable with that, but it is yet another way, another income stream to keep you going and building that nest egg for retirement. So, number 5, I've got notes over here, sorry. Digital product creation. Now, I've not done this. I would like to give it a try. If you're good with spreadsheeting, if you're good with desktop publishing, here's a couple of ideas. In areas that you know of, in areas that perhaps your friends know of, you can create digital products and sell them. There are several different platforms you can use. I know one is Etsy, but do a little Google search. It'll pop right up. But use your own knowledge. Again, it's very esoteric. Everybody has their own area. I have a friend who does genealogy, spreadsheeting for people. I wouldn't know how to do that. She does. And she sells those templates on Etsy. Everyone has their own area of expertise and interest. I have the lady that does the crochet and knitting. She creates patterns and sells them on Etsy. So everyone is different, and your knowledge is different than mine. You can earn the range, from $25 a month to, $20,000 a month. Depends on how prolific you are, how popular your designs are. I would say if you have an area of expertise here and that you want to give it a shot, be prolific. Just start doing it. Just get out there and produce, and you're going to see what takes off. And that's very similar to whatever we're talking about here. Be consistent, be resilient, and be prolific with it. You're going to see results. So, digital products. Number 6, and I love this one, and it does kind of piggyback on a couple of the others, but this will expand your mindset on it. Creating an income from a hobby. Now, we talked about patterns and doing the digital product from a hobby. We talked about consulting, coaching from a hobby. You can go further with that. You can do internet classes, very easy. I know of several people who teach on Facebook in private groups. It's just a private Facebook group. They have a Facebook page where they show you, one in particular does cookie decorating. And she decorates these fabulous cookies, and we just all watch them because I'm not going to decorate those cookies, but I just keep watching her. But she also does classes where she'll take, say, one cookie. It's an Easter bunny cookie, say for Easter. And she, for $10, you can learn how to decorate this cookie. And she just says, so you have to buy this cookie cutter and make some of the cookies and get this specific icing and show up on Friday at 2 p.m. And we're all going to decorate this cookie together, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. And she makes a very, very good living, mostly off her classes. She does the others, and they're just really the advertising for the classes. And then I know another lady who sells cookie making, decorating kits. And I've talked about this before. It can be quite lucrative, and she'll say, I'm doing an Easter decorating kit, so you'll have maybe 12 cookies of various Easter shapes. They're not decorated. You'll have the icings in little ramekins that she pre-colors for you. She has a couple of ramekins of sprinkles and dots, and it's $25 or $30 a set. And she'll say, I'll have 50 sets available on Thursday for you to pick up at my home. You have to pick them up at her home. And she does a very, very good side business with that. But I want to talk a minute about another group that a couple of ladies who give tours in my area. It's really interesting. And I've been meaning to go on one of their tours. And they offer several tours, and they do rotate through in the seasons, because you might not want to tour a downtown area in the middle of a snowstorm, but you might want to tour the big museum, and they'll do a special tour for you in the museum in the snow, in the snowy time. In the spring, you're going to tour tulip areas in the certain area of the city, or gardens later in the year. And maybe you're going to tour there are certain areas. I know they do a garden tour, which is like a large vegetable garden, like truck farmer tour. So in our downtown area, they farm the vacant lots. So they work with that nonprofit that does that, and they do a tour and share some of the proceeds with that nonprofit. So I think you can see what I'm saying here. Even touring your hometown, it can be a small town too. I have a friend who their community, I have a lot of friends, don't I? I just know a lot of these people because I work with nonprofits, but a community theater group in a rather small town that at Halloween does Halloween tours as a fundraiser for their organization. There's no law saying an individual can't do that, can't do a Halloween tour. You can do a Christmas lights tour. You don't have to have them in your tour bus. You can just give them for $5. You can receive the verified list of the greatest light shows in your community and sell that list, right? And just give them the guided map tour. And why wouldn't you? You know, there's endless thoughts of what you can do. You just have to say, this is my area of interest and expertise, and I'm going to provide that to you. I actually know in a smaller town, a realtor that provides that, and she doesn't charge for it, but you have to give her your email to get the list. And so it's a marketing thing. Not a bad way to do it, right? I could see working as and I know this means ladders and physical work, but I do know people who do this, who put up Christmas lights. What a great way to market and gather emails for your business where you put up Christmas lights by providing a list of the best Christmas lit houses in town, but they have to give you their email to get it. So there are a lot of different ways to monetize your interests and hobbies. You could just really go down the tour rabbit hole, couldn't you? What is your expertise? I know people who are just into historic cars and car clubs. And when you have a really big car show, I have been a part of going and seeing all these cars. I don't really know anything about them. I probably would sign up for a few bucks, a tour, so that someone could go place to place and say, this one's really great because of this. That one's really great because of this. What are the art shows in your community that you might be able to do that for somebody? What are the car shows? What other things are in your community? Maybe you give tours at your 4-H fair. Are you into the ag and the animals at the fair? Wow, I would show up at. I would pay to be on one of those tours at the state fair. I really would. I often wonder, what am I looking at here? What's so special about this? And that would be a great tour. Monetize your hobbies and knowledge. You're going to be surprised. There are beer tours. They'll go from brewery to brewery in the city. What about junk food tours? You could do a fun junk food tour. You could do a tea tour. You could do a coffee shop tour. You can do, of course, a taste of tour. So you are only limited by your imagination at this point on this type of sharing your personal hobbies and interests via a paid, monetized stream. I mean, I'm ready. I want to know what your hobbies are. Tell me below. Are you in the Kansas City or Denver metro? Because I go to both of them quite a bit. I would love to pay you to show me your hobbies. That's so fascinating, really. All right. That was a good one. Number 7, the last one. Okay. Monetize other property rentals. I know people who rent out their vacant parking pad for parking. If parking is slim in your area and it's legal to park something there and you never park anything there, you can rent it out. That's one. Another is, do you have the space for someone's RV? Do you have an awning? Do you have an extra garage? I know people who rent out the garage of their house because they can do street parking and they need that extra money. I actually have an extra garage behind my Airbnb. And that garage rents for $180 to a classic car enthusiast. It's one bay. He has some work area for him to putter around with his car, and he has his classic car in there. Now, as with many of these things, we'll touch later on insurance, but it's all doable. I just have regular renter insurance on it. It's completely, and he's required to have insurance on his car, of which he has to provide me verification of. So I rent that garage. What else can you rent? Do you have an extra pickup? There is a app for that where you can rent out your pickup. Can you rent out, do you have like a convertible? There is an app to rent out your car especially in tourist areas. We have used it, Turo, we've used it twice. We used it in Hawaii and got a convertible and rode around the whole island and had a great time. Let's see. You can rent out equipment. So you can just go on Craigslist and say, I have a bucket truck that is rentable. Get with your insurance agent to see how that insurance works. But there are apps for this also for renting equipment. But you can rent out equipment. You can rent out your vehicles. You can rent out extra space. Do you have a storage unit? Some kind of garage you can rent out as a storage unit. You're only limited by your imagination again. Some people rent out their farm area to weddings. They're not renting their house. You want to have a wedding, you're going to have to bring in the toilets. You're going to have to bring in the tables and chairs and all of that. But I'll give you my farm meadow to get married in. Some people make a lot of money doing that. And they don't set it up. They don't rent the other things. They just rent the venue. Do you have that kind of setup that you might have to rent out? These are the kind of things that can really turn into a extra bonus as you are retiring. You can live off that kind of income if you have that kind of wedding venue spot. Some people create things they can rent. I watched a very interesting video on a gentleman who put together in a couple of small trailers luxury porta potties. And they were just industrial, small trailers, a men's and a woman's. And for several $100s, he will roll that out to where you're having your event. You might be a nonprofit having a fundraiser somewhere. You might be a wedding. It might be any number. It might be a family reunion and you're not enough bathrooms and you're not going to use porta potties. And he just fixed it up inside. It's a porta potty, but they're very posh. Like you could get dressed in one of them. It's a trailer. And so they're very popular for weddings. And that's what he does for retirement. I watched a video about him online and I thought, what a wonderful, wonderful thing to have as an income. You can rent things that you already own or you make and put together as an income stream. You're only limited by your imagination. So wrapping up, those are the 7 things. Each of those things might have different taxation benefits. They might have insurance needs. They might have need for keeping track of your expenses, like a QuickBooks. Generally, if you have a business of any kind, you're going to need some kind of tracking mechanism for that. You might need tracking mechanism for mileage. There's an app for that. So you'll need a little business plan. It's just a little business plan. What's it going to cost? What are my needs? What's my potential income? And do the math. There's a little addition, little subtraction. And see, is it worth it for me to do this type of income stream? We are of the age that we need to look at how are we going to get by? How are we going to live as we get older? And we're only limited, as I said before, by our imagination. I know that you have a great imagination, a wonderful idea, and I would love to hear it. So please share it with me. I'd love to hear what you're thinking of. And again, I'm really looking forward to my fourth quarter, and I know you are too. The last fourth of our life is a great, expanding, fun time. Let's make sure that we don't have the extra worry of how we're going to fund it.